but it's not going to work just by raising your prices and hanging a shingle on it and going, okay, I got new prices. There is a process to position it in a way that it's a no-brainer for people to say yes to. You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 312. And today I want to unpack the biggest mistakes expert-based business owners are making that actually keep them stuck. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hi there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson here, authority amplifier to expert-based business owners. And I'm going to unpack some things that I witnessed this year that I noticed are keeping business owners stuck in their cash flow, stuck in their ability to make the impact that they want, that have basically made them invisible in their market. I'm going to cover them in Jay Leno style with starting with number 5, going all the way to the biggest one. Now, before I jump into the episode, yes, I have a cold. I know you're probably listening going, Melanie, what is going on with your voice? We always notice when something's going on. I always get messages and emails. Yes, I have a cold. Yes, it is lingering and it's super annoying. I know. I want to share a resource. And if you have not yet downloaded this from the podcast, I want to implore you to stop what you're doing, pause the episode, jump on your phone, head over to your laptop or your computer and go to amplifywithmelanie.com. I want you to download my 7-step framework that helps you leverage other people's audiences to add another 6 and potentially even 7, depending on how good you are at implementing these frameworks into your business this year. I know you're looking at what the new year is going to bring over the next few weeks. And if you're listening to this later, you may be looking at how to even make your business perform better. These 7 frameworks, if you sell your knowledge, if you have a service, if you are impact driven and you want to make a greater impact with something that you teach, these are extraordinarily essential to ramping things up. And if you do not have all 7 of these frameworks, plus the 2 bonus insights I give you, then chances are you're struggling, you're feeling stuck, you feel like you have so much more you want to accomplish and you're not. You're not taking the big, bold actions that could actually really move the needle for you. And you're probably wondering what it's going to take because you're doing all the things you know to do and it's not coming together the way you'd hoped. So download this. This is the same framework I have been using since the beginning of my business. I've integrated them over and over. I've added a few things along the way, and I would like to share what's worked for me and help you put puzzle pieces together that maybe you've been struggling with. So again, go over to amplifywithmelanie.com. Let this be your coaching wisdom to help you create a year that you may not even knew was ever possible. And if I can be of help to you, I would love that as well. We have opened up applications for my brand new Ignite program. I'm very excited about 2023. We're bringing things back that we did pre-pandemic that we put on pause while the world was recovering. We're going to be integrating 4 key areas that entrepreneurs that are building a business around their expertise struggle with. And I got to tell you, the people in this program are going to complete 2023 in a radically new place. They're going to have ignited and amplified their income, their impact, and their influence. And this is a small group experience. We will be having a live annual retreat, and the only way to get a ticket to the program, to the event, is through being a member of Ignite. So if that's something that you're interested in and you'd like to check it out, you're looking for a mastermind, you're looking for a coach, you want to be part of a group that's, hightailing momentum, and you know that this has got to be different for you next year, then apply. amplifyinnercircle.com is where you will find the details on the program. Okay, so let's get into the 5 big mistakes expert-based business owners are making that keep them struggling, that keep them stuck, and keep them underperforming. So number 5 is they're lacking proper expert positioning. Now, what does this mean? So expert positioning, we could also call it authority positioning. This is when you are, when people go to your site, they see your social media, they don't just think you're one of a gazillion other people that do what you do. They recognize you have expertise. And there are several components that I teach in Amplify Your Circle that help you do this. One is you have some kind of authority platform, which I'll talk about in a minute. Another is you're demonstrating results. And that doesn't have to be like cheesy, like, hey, I made like $1 bazillion this year in my business, or my last client, made $2 billion from my coaching. I know I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. I think a lot of us look at that and we're like, okay, anybody could say that, right? This is about knowing how to craft messaging and content that reveals your expertise and gets people to know there is a distinction, there is a unique factor that you have that separates you and makes you the most logical choice to do business with. And when I look at clients who are coming into Amplify Your Authority Inner Circle from the years previous, and they are saying, Melanie, like, I'm doing all the things and it's not working. I'm not getting enough clients coming in. I'm not getting the opportunities that are just soaring into my business the way I see you or other people doing. What I noticed right out of the gate is they're kind of like vanilla. Like, it's really hard to tell what it is that they're an expert in. And one of the biggest reasons is they're doing too many things. They have too many different entry points, too many different offerings, too many different messaging elements. And so people kind of don't know what they do. So what's the solution? Well, I'm going to unpack this a little bit more, but one key solution, and this may ruffle some feathers, trust me, there was a time when I would have resisted this advice, but I now live and breathe it, is you have to have like a signature offering of some kind that is niche or solution specific. And I have both. So I am niched and solution specific. So I went hyper niched. And that's the thing, you don't have to just do one. You can do both. And that really positions your expertise and authority. But that is one of the fastest ways to do it. Now, it may not be fast in terms of pivoting your brand, but I would have you look at your offerings and say, somebody goes to that offering, do they know who it's for? And what is the key promise or solution? Okay, so expert positioning. That's just one of 5 to 7 things that I would advise a client to do, but I want to give you something meaty that you can look at for your business. Now, number 4, we're going in reverse order. 5 was lacking proper expert positioning. 4 is flying under the radar. So what does that mean? This is when you're like playing it safe. Let's just call it what it is. And I have clients who have like come to me and they're just like doing the bare minimum. They're kind of afraid to put their brand and their name out there in a bigger way. There's this part of them that's in deep conflict about being seen as an authority. And when I look at what causes flying under the radar, it almost always lines up with some kind of a mindset around limitation about themselves. There's some kind of fear or belief issue like imposter syndrome, or feeling like they really have what it takes to stand out and be a highly paid authority. There's conflict. Maybe they've had people attack them and that doesn't feel good, but they didn't understand what was really going on, and that's just trolls who are jealous. There's something that is keeping them from really stepping into their greatness and shining it brightly. I have made it my mission to help people who are experts, who are flying under the radar and are invisible, to have the confidence and the clarity to shine, to showcase what they do in a way that feels good to them and have it work. Oh my gosh, one of my clients who I've been working with for about 18 months now, when we started working together, he was feeling invisible. Like he had no shortage of clients, but he just as a brand, I don't really think anybody knows what I do. And it was a lot of mindset stuff. And people really did know what he did, but there was this mindset that was keeping him from taking bigger, bolder action. And there were some simple things we did, and one of them I'm going to share here as a tip that helped him have the confidence to almost double his rates. He's on track to triple his revenue this year. Mind-blowing, right? And I get chills thinking about the simple things we did that gave him so much confidence and so much clarity, he got into immediate action. And if you're flying under the radar, and you are, you know what I'm talking about if you're flying under the radar. I know not everybody here is, but you literally talk yourself out of going for something big. You tell yourself, I don't have the support. It's going to be too hard. What if it doesn't work? Let me tell you, as we go into the new year and the years beyond, you cannot afford to be invisible. You cannot afford to play it safe. You have to stand out. You have to get your components in place. And the reason I'm airing this episode is I'm seeing the light of what's coming. And if you do not have these mistakes fixed, it is going to be very easy for you to get passed over and to be invisible to your audience. And we know what that means. We know that means it's going to impact your cash flow. So flying on the radar, you've got to resolve that. And so the solution, first of all, we got to do the mindset work. Okay, so we've got to figure out what's causing you to lack the confidence. We've got to figure out where is the belief system that is eroding your ability to stand out and be bold and be seen. And again, it may be really unique to you, and that's okay. Whatever trauma, whatever event occurred, and trust me, I am no stranger to any of them. I've had major trauma. I've had epic failures. I've had cringy, shame-filling events that made me question if I was capable of any of this. But I know that I'm supposed to be here and do the work I do. And having an authority brand and really understanding all 5 of these components have helped me keep coming back and do better each time. And the mindset work that I do helped me heal trauma that was looping me in these trauma patterns that kept getting me to blow things up accidentally, right? And if you've had trauma, you know what I mean. Okay, so flying under the radar. Number 3, messaging. So you can be doing all the right things, have all the right offerings, but if your messaging isn't dialed in, then chances are you're going to be struggling in a lot of areas. You're going to be feeling like you're doing a lot of the right things and you've got the right offers, but they're not selling because the messaging is off. As we go, as we close this year, 2022, as this episode airs, and we move forward, I can't tell you how vital relevant messaging is going to be. There is going to be a pruning, a culling, if you will, of excess. People are conscious about where they're spending their money and where they're investing their time. The hustle culture is dying off at a rapid speed. And people, especially the type of people that are attracted to my work, and I suspect if you're here, you too, people are recognizing that it's very meaningful for them to choose a mentor, to choose a coach, and they want to choose somebody they feel resonance with. And the gate, or I should say the bridge between where your potential clients are seeking for solutions and you is your message. And if you do not have your message fine-tuned, if you do not understand what is going to move the buying lever for your ideal client, and your messaging is outdated, it's generic, it sounds like everybody else, you are not going to be able to move the needle on them. You are not going to be the solution they choose. They will go where that resonance is active for them, even if you could do a better job. And the same goes for visibility opportunities. There is going to be a surge, like we've seen spikes in all kinds of content and audio platforms, video platforms, authority platforms. Events are starting to pick back up again. People are looking for great experts. And if you do not have a clear message that showcases you as an authority and expert, chances are those bookers, those people that are trying to book you for speaking, they're not going to choose you because your message doesn't resonate with the problem they want you to solve for their audience. So messaging is key. Here's one step you can take. Now, I would highly recommend that you get into a program where messaging is something that you can work on. We do that in Amplify Inner Circle, the Ignite program. And if you are looking for something that's very specific, I would highly recommend you check out my guest expert system. That is where I fine tune the messaging process for you, especially in how you share your message through speaking, but it carries over into everything. So number 3 is messaging. You have to have a relevant message that your potential clients and your audiences resonate with and see themselves in. By the way, just a little aside on messaging, I worked with a woman this year who heard me speak, again, testimonial to how being on the microphone attracts those clients. She heard me speak at a private mastermind event. And I was speaking about messaging and how important that message is when you're going to be speaking on other people's stages and on podcasts. And she was in my DMs immediately saying, "Oh my gosh, I think you were speaking to me because I'm struggling with my message." And so we worked on her messaging through the VIP version of Guest Expert System. And, within just a few days, she had said, "Oh my gosh, like I have clarity on my message that I've struggled with for years. Like I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to try and get all these puzzle pieces together. And I finally have clarity on my message." And what led from that was clarity about how to talk about her work on podcasts, which led to some clients. She was getting clients immediately. And then the second thing that happened was it also helped her fine-tune her signature offering. And the signature offering shifted because she realized as we worked on the messaging that her most aligned work that she does, she was kind of focusing on the wrong niche. So very, very powerful. That message can be a gateway to clarity around a lot of things. Makes me excited. Can you tell? I love, love, love hearing these success stories. So now let's get to number 2. This is a great segue. Actually, I didn't even plan it, but it came out that way, is the monetization of your superpower. You are under monetizing it. Again, I look at the trends, I look at where people are coming through, and I see how people play it safe with how they price the amazing work they do in the world. And I do believe that we need to have a trifecta. We need to understand what is our superpower, what is the outcome, like the problem it solves when we're doing the work that we really do well. And then third, we need to understand what is that ideal client looking for, right? It's not just figure out what you want to do and put it out there in the world. That's why a lot of times you're doing what you're born to do and it's not selling. You're not having the results you want is because you did it in a vacuum and you didn't integrate the other 2 pillars. When you understand what your true superpower is and how it intersects with the thing that your ideal client is struggling with, what they're craving, what they've been searching their whole life for, even if they've never said it out loud, then you know how to position and price what you do. And one of the things that I've been doing for years with my clients, and I've seen amazing results, I do it in my own work too, is to do value positioning. Okay, this takes a little bit of effort. It's very hard to do on your own. I'll just say that sometimes it's kind of hard to see the results inside the way you normally look at your work. But this can be so powerful, is to look at what is the value you bring to your clients over and over and over again. I did this exercise with one of my clients this last year. Well, I did it with all of them, but one client in particular is kind of standing out in my mind right now. And when he looked at his track record, and he looked at the value, the actual results his effort brought to his clients, he all of a sudden had the confidence and the clarity to reprice his offerings. And I had been saying, I think you're priced too low for what you're doing. And he was like, I don't think my clients will pay that. What this does is it not only gives you confidence, but it gives you the clarity on how to position a different package with higher prices to your ideal clients. It is so powerful. I love doing this with people because it's almost like you get an instant piece of clarity on how to 5x, 2x, maybe even 10x your revenue. Because I would say about 6 out of 10 expert-based business owners, these are services, coaches, sometimes therapists, people who deliver value through some kind of time that they share with you, they are underpricing it. And what they're doing is they're letting their current audience dictate the pricing, because when they've tried to raise their prices before, they're like, oh, I'm getting price resistance. They don't want to pay that. Of course not. You've trained them to pay what you charge now. And if you raise the prices on them, they're going to freak out. So you have to go into this differently than you have before. I guarantee you it works, but it's not going to work just by raising your prices and hanging a shingle on it and going, okay, I got new prices. There is a process to position it in a way that it's a no-brainer for people to say yes to. Okay, very, very powerful stuff. So I want to leave number 2 with the clarity that if you recognize you're working way too hard for the revenue, people are saying yes to your offer really quickly, and you're like, oh, I probably could charge more. You actually know you have colleagues and vendors who do similar things. They're charging a lot more than you. You're probably undercharging and under monetizing. And so I would put on your goals list to create a way to increase your revenue by increasing your prices or introducing new signature packages. You don't always have to raise the price currently of what you're doing. We may just let that go and create a new solution. Okay, so now let's get into the big one, number 1. And it's trying to figure out your growth in your own head. There is so many reasons why this is bad for you. And what I notice, and I'm just going to say this straight out, is you're letting your own fears, your own worries, your own beliefs dictate what you believe you can afford to get help to grow your business. And here's the chronic cost. First of all, you're probably running some patterns, because we all have them, right? Like, our minds are conditioned to do what we know how to do. And if we aren't stretching our ideas, and we're not stretching our vision, and we're not having someone challenge us to achieve things that we don't even know if we could do, guess what? You're going to crawl. You're going to see very little movement. And that might feel good to you. You might be that person who's like, I like things slow. And I want to invite you to look at, can you keep things calm? And can you keep things methodical and feel like you're kind of controlling your growth, if you will, but also challenge yourself to pull off things that you've been holding back on. And there's a tiny little part of you that said, I really wish I could blank. When you are in your own mind, you will always come up with reasons why you can't do it. When you, and there's several ways to get to this, by the way, but if you hire a coach, you join a mastermind or program, maybe that's Ignite for 2023. But when you tap into these things, you will discover that you're holding yourself back because you don't know how. And this is where getting someone else on your team with you helps you get out of your own way and play a bigger game. The other thing that happens is when you're trying to figure it all out on your own, it gets overwhelming. Like, to deliver what you do is one hat you wear. To be in the planning and visioning of your growth is another hat you wear. And then there's the, behind the scenes, moving all the levers, getting all the parts moving together. That's another hat you wear. And you have to switch between those hats. And so if you find that planning for your growth, figuring out what you want to do next, those things kind of fall apart because you never have time, or you can't create space, or you can't get clear, chances are you are in prime position to benefit from coaching and support. The third thing is, I think as an industry, we have done a disservice to many people in our community because we have provided too much free, accessible content. Now, the intention was pure in the sense that we want to give people an experience of us. Obviously, I have free lead magnets. And I think that as a rule, we should give people a very low or zero risk way for them to get to know us. This podcast is free right now. You never know, I may start doing a subscription someday. It's on the goals list. But when we have too much free content, what happens is people get the illusion that they can put all their puzzle pieces together and they don't have to pay anyone else to help them. Think about it. Like, how many times have you Googled or gone to YouTube and searched for the problem you're having and said, I'll just figure it out there? You can find a YouTube video for everything. But here's what's missing, especially when it comes to coaching, is your unique, someone holding the space for you to find your unique path and make sure that it's aligned for you. And what pains me is when I hear people say, well, I asked my spouse and they didn't like that idea, or, you talk to one of your other friends or a service provider who does something that has nothing to do with the business you have, and they ask for advice. I was talking with someone the other day who has a product business, and she was asking for some clarity. She'd booked a strategy session and asked for some clarity about how to make more money from her business. And she told me some advice that one of her friends gave her, who is in the media world, but she's not a business coach. And I was like, she's basically told you to work for free because you're not making any money. And the way she said you could monetize this is not aligned with what you want out of your business. I was like, oh my goodness. I truly think it's vital. If you want to have a business that's making an impact, that is building income and hopefully financial security for you and your family, and you recognize that having influence, healthy influence, is a good thing, that you are going to hire a coach. Did you know that the most highly paid coaches, consultants, have all invested and continue to invest in their own coaching? I have a coach. I have a mastermind. I invest heavily in my clarity and in my support so that I don't make decisions in a vacuum. Because you know what happens? Even me, even when I coach myself, I'm in my own way. And oftentimes those are my worst results. Sometimes I get the right hit and I can move on that. But when I align with people who truly get my vision and can help me pull this off, I get much better results. And I have people helping me stay aligned. I have people helping stretch my thinking and get my vision at a higher level, and to see possibility where maybe I see limitation. And when you're working with a really great coach, that's what you get. So I want to challenge you as you're preparing for the next 12 months of growth in your business, whatever time frame this is for you. What could be different if you invested in guidance and coaching and support so that you played a bigger game and you could ignite results that you've dreamed of but never had? What blind spots might get cleared away so you could operate at a higher performance? What momentum might you get so you're not kind of like flying blind and figuring it out as you go, so you can actually gain momentum? What support, like from a team perspective, might you be able to tap into to help you stay in your lane and do the things you love to do and have more joy and more fun with your business instead of dreading certain things that you feel like you have to do to grow? And what is it worth to you to feel like you are aligned, so deeply aligned with every aspect of your business, and it just takes off? And you know you're having the impact that you want to have. That's what can happen when you stop trying to figure it out all on your own and you trust somebody to be your partner and your champion to achieve things that you never knew were possible. I wish that for you this year. And if I can be that for you, I would love that. And, if it's someone else, great. But I want to hear what you're going to do to stop doing all the growth steps on your own and really step up your game, tap into that next level of impact, influence, and income. So these are the 5 big mistakes that I have been noticing and what I see as solution. I love to hear your thoughts on this week's episode. Hit me up in the DMs, or you can certainly share this episode wherever you like to be visible on your social platforms. But I want to know, what was the big takeaway from today? Tell me about it. And I can't wait to hear how it pays off for you. Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.